Alrighty, welcome back everybody to another Strixhaven Draft. Now, we've got Selfless Glyph Weaver and Deadly Vanity. That seems cool. You have Dune Blast on the backside of a 3-mana 2/3 with relevant text. We can take that, or we can take Agonizing Remorse, which, as we saw the last time, was actually pretty good. It was a way to answer some of the insane Elder Dragons in this format. I think I'm going to go with the Glyph Weaver. I kind of want to draft Black-White if possible. It's one of the more interesting ones to me. I also want to draft the Blue-Red deck, but I'm going to wait until I probably get a great opener for that. Stone Rain. Land Destruction in my Limited? It's more likely than you think. Wow. Well, as cool as this Stone Rain is, I think we take Flunk or Mage Hunter's Onslaught. This card actually was super good in our last deck because we were going very wide and then draining our opponent for a bunch. It was like a burn spell and a kill spell, which was awesome. But Flunk seems to be on higher power level. There's a lot of black-white removal in this format, especially with Necrotic Fume, or in this pack, I mean. So I'm going to take Flunk. Flunk is just higher power level than the other ones, although that was a lesson that had, exiled a creature. As an additional cost, I had to exile a creature for Necrotic Fume, so I think it's a little bit worse than Flunk, but the fact you can tutor it out of your sideboard seems pretty good. Alright, in this pack, what does this card do? You may pay 4 rather than pay the spell's mana cost. If it was paid, opponent discards any number of cards, then draws any number of cards. Search your library for up to 3 cards, put them into your hand, shuffle, and discard 3 cards at random. That does not seem very good, even in the high side scenario of that. There's an Exhilarating Elocution, put 2/1/1 counters on a creature you control, other creatures you control get 1/1 until end of turn. This seems like an okay top end spell for black-white go wide. There's also Pest Summoning. I kind of like this, even if I don't end up in green-black. I like it more than Exhilarating Elocution. Archway Commons I would only play in a 3 or more color deck, so I'm going to take the Pest Summoning, which is actually main deckable, I think, in this deck. Yeah, we'll take Mage Hunter's Onslaught, because this card is crazy powerful. Clever Luminmancer, how you doing? See you in Constructed later. Moto still seems to be lagging a lot during the drafting process. Spiteful Squad, very good Orzhov colored card, or Lorehold. No, not Lorehold. What's the other one? I don't remember the name of the... Silverquill, that's the one. Definitely going to take this card, I think. It locks a lot of your opponent's larger creatures out from attacking just because it's a death touch. And even though it's a 4-mana 2/2, it can stack its counters on something after it dies, which is a theme in Silverquill, which seems pretty good. Alright, so several good cards here. Eager First Year is good. I think Rise of Extus is better, because just the exile a creature and get to tutor a spell you can learn is super good. Silverquill Pledge Mage is also very good, but I want the hard removal. I want to just load up on removal and just have a deck that kills everything. Dueling Coach does seem good. It's not as much of a go wide creature, but we do have Spiteful Squad, which does synergize with Dueling Coach. Let's see, I'm missing out on Cram Session, Unwilling Ingredient. I'm going to take Cram Session over the uncommon, actually. I have not taken a lot of learn cards yet, and it really seems like I'm undervaluing them when I see them. So I'm going to try this. I would not mind taking this lesson, but I think I have to take Arrogant Poet, because we are trying to go wide. So might as well get on the board early. Nobody took Agonizing Remorse. There's another Arrogant Poet, but I don't really want a bunch of that effect, because I don't want to be paying all my life away, especially not in the black-white version of this deck. I'm going to take Agonizing Remorse. I can't believe that tabled. This card is the only way to answer some of the rare threats in this format without them gaining some value off of it. Beaming Defiance. Target creature you control gets +2/+2 and gains hexproof until end of turn. Detention Vortex is 1 mana removal. I think I'm going to take the Fixing. Got a feeling I'm going to need it. Fervent Mastery. I'm not really playing any of these cards. I'll take the rare just because I don't have it yet. I can't really play any of these cards. I guess I could technically play Leyline Invocation, because we might be Abzan colored again, so I'll put that in the sideboard. Novice Dissector, infused with Vitality. I'll take Novice Dissector. Springmane Servan to the sideboard. And our last pick is Mercurial Transformation. Alright, pack 2. What are we dealing with? Quandrix Command, which is double off color. I think I'm going to take Killian, Ink Duelist. It cheapens the cost of our removal and decreases the cost of our buffs as well. Kind of sad to lose another Mage Hunter's Onslaught. This is like the third one we've seen that we haven't taken. We're not in green-black yet, so I'll take Killian. Mana Tithe, we can get him. Secret Rendezvous, I don't think that card's playable. Ageless Guardian. Study Break is tap and learn. Do I take Mana Tithe? Oh, this really feels like we could get him. I don't have a lot of creatures. I should probably prioritize creatures, but Study Break seems decent. We'll have a few good lessons, and this is a combat trick, so... Star Pupil, I do like. Don't think I would take the rare here. Yeah, we kind of need to get on the board a little bit earlier than we are already, so I don't mind taking Star Pupil. Another Agonizing Remorse. Well, nobody took it the first time, so I don't know if anybody's going to take it the second time. Reduced to Memory would not be bad. Neither would Expanded Anatomy, but I've got a feeling we need this Star Pupil just so we can go aggro. Silverquill Pledge Mage, I'm pretty excited about. Just gaining lifelink is good. Beaming Defiance will probably wheel, so... Okay. I like Guiding Voice. It's another way to like power up our early creatures, because when these guys die, we can put more counters on other creatures. And we get to learn in the process. So I'm going to take Guiding Voice. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 cards that learn. So I would like at least 4 lessons we can learn. So Pest Summoning is probably one of them. And that's the only one we have so far. There's basically nothing in this pack for us. I guess I would be most likely to play green as my tertiary color. So I would take Containment Breach for the sideboard, because if I get a Rainbow Land or the Letter of Acceptance, I could at least tutor this out. Emergent Sequence is pretty decent. I think I will take the Biblioplex Assistant, though. Man, just like all of our cards dried up. I'll put 10 the Pests in the sideboard. Because like I said, green would be our most likely third color. Witherbloom Apprentice would be best for this deck if I had to go into a third color. Same with Tangle Trap. Man, I might be forced to play a third color. That would suck. Someone take Agonizing Remorse this time? Okay, Witherbloom Campus will at least help us splash if we want it. And I might at this point. Letter of Acceptance for that thing I said earlier. Adventurous Impulse is actually quite reasonable. And Pillar Drop Warden in the sideboard. And it'll be time for pack 3. Pack 3, Ephemerate. Ephemerate seems pretty good. Do we have any good enters the battlefield effects? I mean, it could be good just to trigger Magecraft. And as a way to save our creatures for really cheap, I think I take Ephemerate. Just seems like a really good combat trick. Silverquill Apprentice. There's another Lash of Malice. I think I take Lash of Malice because this goes in more decks. Hopefully Silverquill Apprentice wheels. God's Willing. It's an excellent way to protect our guys. I need more creatures, though. I'll take God's Willing. Divine Gambit. There's a white card I'm not going to take. Professor of Symbology, I think I actually like slightly more than Eager First Year for the same learn capability. Hopefully we can pick up a few more lessons. It's getting kind of late, though. Maybe I tried to learn too much and didn't have enough lessons. Although learn does have other text than just getting a lesson from outside your game. From outside the game. Learn also says you can just discard a card to draw a card. Strixhaven Stadium. Yeah, I don't want to get involved in that. Reduced to Memory is a decent lesson, and I was complaining about not having enough things to get out of my sideboard. So I think I'm going to take Reduced to Memory. Wouldn't mind having another Silverquill Campus, though. Closing Statement. Destroy target creature or planeswalker you don't control. Put a 1/1 counter on up to 1 target creature you do control. That seems good. The alternative would be like a Pilgrim of the Ages. Yeah, I think we take Closing Statements. Eye Twitch. Another card to help us get down early. So we have exactly 23 playables. And I have 1, 2, possibly 3 tutorable sideboard lessons, none of which are colorless. The good colorless ones, because I passed those for my main strategy. Let's see. Combat Professor is probably the best in terms of like aggressive creatures. That's a nice negate art. Go Blank, Mind Rot is generally a playable effect, but I think I need more creatures. I only have 11. Lash of Malice. I don't mind the 1 mana Disfigure kill spell. I'm going to take the negates solely for the art. There's nothing in this pack I'd be playing anyway. Promising Dusk Mage. I think I have to take Hunt for Specimens. Makes a 1/1 and learns. Oh, Pest Summoning! We have enough learn spells, even though Hunt for Specimens not bad. Pest Summoning is going to go on the sideboard. Professor's Warning, technically the most playable card. Novice Dissector. I could play. Yeah, we'll take it. Infused with Vitality to the side. Alright. Why? Oh, I have a filter on. I was like, why do I have no cards in my sideboard? So we have 1, 2, 3, possibly 4 playable cards with that we can learn out of our sideboard. Let's group creatures separately. So we need to cut non-creatures mostly. I think I cut Cram Session. Ephemerate, we don't have any real good enters the battlefield effects. Like I could Professor of Symbology, but if I don't have a single maybe it's good enough. Like we have a couple of Magecraft abilities. Maybe it's just good enough. Combat Professor, Novice Dissector, Biblioplex Assistant. I don't actually think I'm going to play. Letter of Acceptance does let me tutor for Containment Breach possibly and play it. I don't think we need Study Break though. Alright, well it's time to see if this deck will work. We don't have anywhere near the amount of removal I would like. He says looking at 1, 2, 3, 4 hard removal spells and 2 not hard removal spells. And a Wrath in his deck. Okay, so let's put Silverquill Campus back in the deck. Add basics. 7 and 8. Okay. Alright, let's try it. Silverquill aggro. Alright, we will be on the play. And I am going to keep this hand. We get to start with our 1 mana 1/1 flyer. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps. Starts with a forest. We untap and draw Spiteful Squad. Play planes. Go to combat. Attack for 1. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps. Plays a swamp into a Witherbloom Apprentice. We untap. Draw Lash of Malice. I think we save that. Let's go ahead and get in with Eye Twitch. We'll go ahead and play Selfless Glyph Weaver. Pass the turn. Opponent plays a swamp. They go to combat. Attack for 2. You know what? I'm going to block. They probably got something. They do. Target creature gains Death Touch. And when this creature dies, return to the battlefield tapped under its owner's control. You gain 2 life. So we get drained for 1. They'll kill our guy. They gain 2 life regardless, so even if I exiled Glyph Weaver in response, it's not like it would have mattered too much. Alright, we untap. We draw Silverquill Pledge Mage. So play the planes. I'm going to play a Novice Dissector. Get in for 1. Take them to 20. They untap. They're going to charge through. We get drained for 1. They gain Trample. They play a Forest. Play a Reckless Amplimancer and pass. We draw Star Pupil. So go to combat. Attack. No blocks. Opponent takes 4. Play Star Pupil. Play Silverquill Pledge Mage. Pass the turn. 4 mana. Opponent plays Master Symmetrist. They attack for 4. We'll take 4. We untap. Draw Mage Hunter's Onslaught. What do we do here? I could sack the Eye Twitch and learn. We could get our Exile spell. I could turn the 4/4 into a 3/2, but And then I don't have enough mana to Lash of Malice. I could sack Star Pupil, put 2/1/1 counters on the Eye Twitch, but this has Reach. I think I'm just going to play Spiteful Squad. No attacks. Really like to draw another Swamp so I can Mage Hunter's Onslaught. 4 mana. Opponent plays a Daemogoth Titan. Whenever it attacks or blocks, sack a creature. We untap. We draw Silverquill Campus. Play the Silverquill Campus. Let's put a counter on Eye Twitch. Sacking Star Pupil? No, hang on. I'm not doing this right. Let's put a counter on Silverquill Pledge Mage by sacking... I don't really have a good set of plays, do I? I think I just pass. Opponent untaps. Black-green. Opponent plays Daemogoth Woe Eater. They don't attack. We untap. Draw planes. Play the planes. I'm going to put a 1/1 counter on Silverquill Pledge Mage, sacking Eye Twitch. This makes us discard, doesn't it? Yeah. We're going to learn. I think we take Reduce to Memory. We get rid of their creature with Reach. We give Silverquill Pledge Mage Flying. They get a 3/2. Nothing else has Reach, as far as I know. Go to combat. Attack for 4 in the air. And I think I'm going to give it lifelink and kill the spirit. Now I have to discard my hard removal spell. But they don't have a lot of creatures to sacrifice, and we have a guy with Death Touch. Because presumably my opponent sacrifices this to itself. I'm glad that the stupid Master Symmetrist, like, these guys aren't symmetrical to just gain 10 to the pests. So they get a whole bunch of green pest creatures, and we're forced to discard. Well, that's not good. Because now they can start attacking with their big Titan. Yeah, I should have kept 2 cards in hand. I should have taken a line that allowed me to do that. I guess the only real concern is they somehow have removal for Spiteful Squad as well. But it plays a land. Plays Dina Soul Steeper. They are attacking for 11. They have to sack. They sack a pest and gain a life. We lose a life. So we block with our Death Touch guy. They have Trample. Oh my gosh. The Wombo combo. Taking so much damage. Alright, put the 1/1 counters on the guy that theoretically can gain lifelink. We untap. Okay. Pass the turn. Oh no. We're just dead. Just dead on board. Unless my opponent thinks I'm holding up an instant speed trick for Silverquill Pledge Mage. But they actually have lethal and no reason not to just swing out. We might learn more about their removal. Okay. Oh, they can just drain us all the way down because of Dina's ability. Yeah, they don't even have to attack. Never mind. We have no adjustments for this. So, run it back. Alright, we are on the play for game 2. And I think we do keep this. Arrogant Poet and an Eye Twitch. Start Silverquill Campus, pass the turn. Opponent untaps, leads on a forest. We draw a swamp. So, play Arrogant Poet, pass the turn. Opponent plays a swamp into Dina, Soul Steeper. We untap and draw Professor of Symbology. Go to combat. Attack for 2. Pay 2 life. Hit our opponent down to 18. Play a Plains, play an Eye Twitch, and play the Professor. So do we get Pest Summoning or Reduce to Memory? I think we get Pest Summoning. Pass the turn. I didn't realize there were core on this plane. I just realized this is a core. Opponent plays a Pestilent Cauldron. Discard a card, make a pest. Each opponent mills the amount of life you've gained this turn, or exile 4 cards from a single graveyard, draw a card. Huh. Okay. We untap and draw Agonizing Remorse. So I think we play that this turn. They have Rise of Extus, Harmonize, 2 Charge-Throughs, and a Daemogoth War Eater. Woe Eater. I don't know why I say war. I'll take the Woe Eater. Go to combat. Hit them for 3 in the air. Pay 2 life. And they go to 15. They don't discard a card to make a pest. They attack us for 1. Sure. Take 1. They play a Spined Karak. We untap, draw planes. Play a planes. Let's play a Combat Professor. Go to combat. Let's say Eye Twitch gains Vigilance, because that's the card we'd most likely block with. Attack. Pay 2 life. They go to 11. They untap. They still want all the cards in their hand. Charge through. So they get their 4th land. No attacks. We untap. Draw Flunk. So, go to combat. Combat Professor gives Eye Twitch Vigilance. Attack like this. Pay 2. Hit them for 6. Now I could flunk here, but I think it's better to play Pest Summoning because this gives me more defensive options, and we have lethal in the air next turn. Opponent discards Snakeskin Veil, makes a pest. So they draw another card. They harmonize, play a forest. So they technically have 6 life this turn if they sack a pest to Dina. No attacks. We just have lethal in the air, right? We draw planes. I guess if I don't have lethal, I'm off by just 1. So let's play Novice Dissector. We'll put a counter on Combat Professor sacking a pest. Go to combat. Put Vigilance there. And attack like this. Alright. I think we had lethal without the 1/1 counter break there, but still probably was the way to go. Alright. On to game 3. Alright, I unfortunately cannot keep a hand with no lands. This is less than ideal, but still probably okay. So we'll keep this hand. I think I put back Novice Dissector. Opponent leads on a Swamp. They also mulligan to 6. We draw Agonizing Remorse, which we can play on turn 2. Take whatever their best card is. You play another Swamp. They sign in Blood. We draw another Lash of Malice. Well, Agonizing Remorse. They have only swamps in hand, so I think I take this Daemogoth Titan because... screw that. Hopefully they don't draw any green. They do. They play a Witherbloom Apprentice. We untap. Draw Guiding Voice. Play a Plains. Yeah, I'm actually going to just Lash this, because it's their only creature. Everything else they're planning to do with their hand relies on them having a creature. So we untap, draw a swamp, play a swamp, play a Promising Dusk Mage, and we're just going to leave up God's Willing / Lash of Malice. Wow, I cannot talk. If they try and charge through my creature, I could actually protect it from green and deny them the draw. Yep. Okay. So we untap, draw Closing Statement, Guiding Voice the Promising Dusk Mage. I'm gonna get, I think, Pest Summoning. Go to combat, attack for 3, charge through. Do I deny them the draw? You know what? I'm gonna. Protection from green, Plains to the bottom. So this we can only cast on our own end step right now. Hit them for 3. They untap. I think they just played a land. We untap. Draw Star Pupil. Play Star Pupil. Go to combat. Attack for 3. Opponent takes 3, goes to 12. Then we'll play Pest Summoning. And look how good Agonizing Remorse was. Because otherwise they could have sacked that freaking Daemogoth Titan and made 11 pests, and then how do we deal with that? Opponent drew a land. Well, we're getting there. Professor of Symbology. Go to combat. Attack for 7. I'm not going to play out the Professor just in case they do have the 8-mana Wrath. It's not super likely, but in theory is possible. They untap. They harmonize. They play a forest. And they scoop. Agonizing Remorse. Too good! Wins us the match. Jeez. Alright, I'll see you guys in round 2. Alright, we'll be on the draw for round 2, and this seems like a fine opener. We can Professor of Symbology on turn 2 to gain access to our 3-mana create 2/1/1 spell, so we can actually curve out effectively. Opponent did mulligan to 6 and starts on Mountain. We start with Swamp because we drew Lash of Malice. So if they play an early creature, we should be able to kill it immediately, unless it's Prismari Apprentice. Okay, second Mountain. Draw Rise of Extus. Play Professor of Symbology. We get to learn Pest Summoning. Pass the turn. Opponent plays a third Mountain into a Letter of Acceptance. We untap and draw Flunk. Summon some pests. Go to combat. Attack for 2. Opponent untaps. They play a fourth Mountain. And they play a Maelstrom Muse. Okay, we untap. We draw a Swamp. Play a Swamp. Flunk the Maelstrom Muse. Go to combat. Attack for 4. Opponent takes 4, goes to 14. Pass the turn. They play an Ogier Battleseer. We untap. Draw a second Lash of Malice. Do we double lash that? I'm gonna. So we lash and lash. Opponent can scry if they want. They do. Go to combat. Hit them for 4. Opponent goes to 10. They play Expressive Iteration. You put one of them into your hand, one of them into the bottom of the library, and the last one gets exiled. They exile an island and play a Stormkiln Artist. We untap. We draw Arrogant Poet. So play Novice Dissector. Put a 1/1 counter on this pest, sacking this pest. Go to combat. Attack for 4. Opponent trades with a pest. We gain a life. They take 2. They curate, putting something, I think an island into the grave. They draw an island. We untap. Draw planes. Play planes. Go to combat. Hit them for 5. Opponent has Berry and Books. So they put that into our library, second from the top. We hit them to 6. Play Combat Professor and Arrogant Poet. I don't think we dropped a mana this whole game. Opponent could have a very powerful, gigantic spell, though. They kill our Combat Professor. They play Spectacle Mage. We untap. We draw Agonizing Remorse. So, Rise of Extus. Exile Heated Debate, just in case they thought about recurring it. We get to learn Pest Summoning. Go to combat. Hit them for 4. We will not pay, because we don't need to. Hit them to 2. Opponent cycles Letter of Acceptance. They have to kill both of our creatures, or kill one and produce a blocker. And they can't. Nice. Run it back. Alright, this seems like a good hand. We're going to keep. We've got a 1-2-3 opener with a 4 if we draw a 4th land, which is excellent, especially against a deck as slow as our opponents. Ooh, even better. Play Star Pupil. Pass the turn. We're going to play Killian before we play the Arrogant Poet, because Killian's Menace is going to be relevant sooner in the game rather than later. It also means that we could double spell on 4 between Mage Hunter's Onslaught and Arrogant Poet. Play a Swamp. Play Killian. Go to combat. Attack for 1. Opponent untaps. We could Mage Hunter's Onslaught next turn if necessary. Opponent plays a Letter of Acceptance. We untap. Draw planes. Play a Swamp. Go to combat. Attack for 3. Then we'll play the Silverquill Pledge Mage. It's weaker to a damage sweeper, but I don't think there are any in this format. If they are, they're higher cost. Because I don't think there's like Pyroclasm or Anger of the Gods in the Mystical Archive anyway. Heated Debate. Opponent kills Killian. We untap. Draw an Eye Twitch. Play a Plains. Go to combat. Attack for 4. Opponent goes to 12. Play an Eye Twitch. Play a Selfless Glyph Weaver. There's our insurance policy. Pass the turn. Tezzeret's Gambit. Opponent gets to draw 2 cards, then proliferate. I mean, they're looking at 8 damage on board right now. Yep, opponent scoops. Alright. We might trophy again this time. Or, well, we should have trophied the first time, but we drew 9 lands. But we have another shot at trophying this time. See you all in round 3. Alright, we get to be on the play for round 3. Unfortunately, with no creatures to play yet, I'm going to keep this, just because Lash of Malice could hopefully carry us through the early game. But we really want to draw a creature. Opponent leads on Swamp as well. We draw planes, play a planes, pass the turn. If we ever get around to casting Guiding Voice, we can get our Pest Creation spell. Opponent plays a Swamp into a Leech Fanatic. Lash of Malice to kill it. Untap. Draw Professor of Symbology. So play the Professor. We'll learn Pest Summoning. Guiding Voice the Professor and learn Pest Summoning. Pass the turn. If we get another Swamp, we can start casting our Summonings or Mage Hunter's Onslaught. Opponent plays a Forest. They make us sack a creature. That's annoying. We untap. We draw Star Pupil. Play a Plains. Play Star Pupil. Pass the turn. I guess I shouldn't F6 because I do have Lash of Malice. Okay, opponent plays a Dragon's Guard Elite. Lash it. We untap. Draw an Arrogant Poet, which we'll play. Go to combat. Attack for 1. Opponent untaps. Plays a Swamp. I mean, we'd really like a second Swamp if we could get it. Also, Lash of Malice OP. Opponent plays a Damogoth War Eater, which they plan to sacrifice. We can kill it on our end step. So go to combat. Attack for 2. Pay 2. Hit them down to 17. Stop on our end step. We'll put a 1/1 counter on our Arrogant Poet. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps, plays a Swamp. Plays a Brackish Trudge. And flunks our Poet. How rude. We draw Promising Dusk Mage. Pass the turn. I mean, learning like that early off of like Guiding Voice and Professor of Symbology seems really good in a standard like format, just because like in an aggro deck you're not going to run out of spells, it feels like. I'm gonna block with Star Pupil. We put a 1/1 counter on our other guy, just so if this dies, now we draw a card from it, which is good. They exile it. Rude. The rudest. We untap. They got Pest Summoning as well. Play Pest Summoning. Pass the turn. We can finally start casting our other spells. The only problem with Pest Summoning is it enables them to get back Brackish Trudge. So if they attack, we don't block here. We get hit for 4. Draw Novice Dissector. Actually, I should have double blocked there. I don't know what I was thinking. Play Novice Dissector. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps. They Mage Hunter's Onslaught. We'll trade our pests for their pests. We lose 2 life and then gain 2 life. We untap, draw a Swamp, play a Swamp. Pest Summoning. Pass the turn. The problem is they can recur that Trudge. They play Master Symmetrist, then pass. We draw planes, kill the Symmetrist, pass the turn. They're going to have better top end than we are, I think. We need to draw our Exile removal spell that learns the 6-mana one. Okay, Ephemerate, not super useful here. Pass the turn. It would have been super useful if we could have used it to blank some of our opponent's good removal, and may still prove useful for that purpose. But it plays a Tenured Inkcaster. So they can put a 1/1 counter on Brackish Trudge, which is an issue. They go to combat. Attack for 5. We lose a life. Block with a Pest. We gain a life. We untap. Draw planes. Yeah, now we just fizzle out. Opponent plays a land. Goes to combat. Attacks for a lot. I'm going to chump. So we're still looking at exactly lethal. Alright, yep. Kind of bricked there. Started off pretty good, though. Professor's Warning might be better than Ephemerate here. So I'm going to try that. Alright, I would like to play first. This seems decent. We'll keep. Lead on the Swamp, because we showed so many lashes last time. But it also leads on Swamp. We draw another Swamp, play Killian. Actually, I probably should have let on the Professor, because I don't have a good 3 next turn. And that would have let me go wider on board. Opponent plays a Forest. We untap. Draw planes. Go to combat. Attack for 2, lifelink and menace. Okay, that works. So if Killian resolves, we can play Flunk for 1 mana. Not that that's going to be super useful with my opponent having, like 9 cards in hand. They take a field trip, put a forest in a play tapped, and then they learn Pest Summoning. Alright, we untap, draw Promising Duskmage, play planes, go to combat, attack for 4, play the Duskmage, pass the turn. Opponent plays a Swamp. They play the Pest Summoning. Then they pass. We untap. Draw a Silverquill Pledge Mage. Go to combat. Attack here and here. Opponent going to double block Killian. So kill a pest by flunking it. They gain a life. We gain some life. Play Silverquill Pledge Mage. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps. They play a Swamp. They play a Daemogoth Woe Eater. We untap and draw a Letter of Acceptance. So let's Rise of Extus. Exiling those cards. We'll give Silverquill Pledge Mage lifelink. They tend to the pests, forcing us to discard Letter of Acceptance. That's pretty good. They get a whole bunch of pests. And we gave it lifelink instead of flying. So I guess we get Pest Summoning again. Pass the turn. Now my opponent has 7 freaking pests. So yeah, the Daemogoths are fantastic because of 10 to the pests. They play a land. They play a Symmetrist. We untap. Draw Spiteful Squad. Mage Hunter's Onslaught. Oh, whoops. Give this guy flying. Go to combat. Honestly, swing out. Opponent can block down our entire ground, and they lose as much life as they gain. Actually lose 1 more life than they gain. We gain a bunch of life. Okay, pass the turn. Opponent untaps. They play another Master Symmetrist and an Unwilling Ingredient and a land. They hit us for 2. We untap. Draw planes. Play planes. Play Pest Summoning. Give this guy... doesn't matter. Actually, I should have played the Death Touch creature. I totally forgot this card has reach. Why does this card have reach? Pass the turn. Opponent untaps. They have Mage Hunter's Onslaught. They go to combat, swing with the whole team. We'll trade our pests for their pests. So we're taking 5 here. Okay. Opponent plays a Witherbloom Campus. They only have one card in hand. We untap and draw Silverquill Campus, so play that. Play out Spiteful Squad, actually. I know we revealed it, but let's play this way. Because maybe our opponent stopped paying attention and now is afraid of a Nightmare Lash or whatever it's called. Opponent's scrying on their upkeep. They draw a card. It's a Dragon's Guard Elite. It's pretty good. Okay, we did successfully stop them from attacking with the Symmetrist. We untap, draw Selfless Glyph Weaver. We are 2 lands away from Deadly Vanity, but is it better to just play out the Glyph Weaver and have indestructible guys? We have to basically brick for 2 turns, and one of them has to... No, we have enough, as long as we draw any lands. I think it's better to play the Glyph Weaver because we have a Death Touch creature. So pass the turn. Maybe it was better to hold up for the Wrath. I'm not sure on that one. Opponent scries on their upkeep. They draw, play a land, Witherbloom Pledge Mage. Well, I would very seriously like to draw Nightmare Lash, so I will start probably scrying on my own upkeep, because we haven't used a single one yet, and we have 2 left in our deck of 24, because I really need to kill that Dragon's Guard Elite. Planes to the bottom. Maybe I should have kept up and held that Wrath. We draw an Eye Twitch. That can start No, it can't. They have reach. Pass the turn. We can get an exile spell if the Eye Twitch dies, so there's that. This Selfless Glyph Weaver is, like, basically giving us a huge board stall ability. The Symmetrist granting everything trample, though, is pretty enormous, though. Because, like, their 5/5s and stuff are going to be trampling if they attack. Mortality Spear? We don't have any way to get creatures back out of the grave, so I think we just do this now. They gain a life. Problem is now I can't kill this Dragon's Guard Elite. Not without drawing some pretty good removal. I'm not going to scry on my upkeep, so we draw Guiding Voice. I can exile it, so let's Guiding Voice here, because we can move that 1/1 counter if it dies. We'll take Reduce to Memory, and we can exile Dragon's Guard Elite so they can't dump 1,000,000 mana and make it enormous enough to one-shot us. As much as I would like to take out the Symmetrist, I think this is the more dangerous creature. Pass the turn. And that's like all of our usable things we can learn. So if the Eye Twitch dies, we have nothing to discard. They scry on their upkeep. They go to combat. And they attack. So these creatures gain trample. I'm going to block here, and I think I'm going to double block this Spirit to kill it. We'll put the 1/1 counters on the Eye Twitch, and then maybe we can race. Gain life. Unbelievable. Well, we'll get Containment Breach, I guess. Because if they have a way to make us discard, I would rather have a useless card to discard than nothing else in hand. Play Novice Dissector. Pass the turn. This has really been, like, super attrition-y. And it's only because my opponent had that 10 to the pests that they are in the position that they're in now. Opponent plays a Blood Researcher. We're going to take 6. We go to 10. We draw a Swamp. That's not good. Let's go and Scry. Why do all other guys have Menace? Swamp to the bottom. Pass the turn. I think I have to chump or I'm dead to a single spell. Because they gain a life and put a counter here. That's 4. Another Blood Researcher. Yeah, so I made a mistake. I should not have played that Glyph Weaver. I should have waited and cast the Wrath. That was my way to get back in this game. Wow. Well, it wouldn't be a Kano video if he didn't throw it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this content. If you did, please leave a like, drop a comment, subscribe to the channel if you're so inclined, and remember you can follow me on Twitch. Same username over there as you find me on here. I stream Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Mountain Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, though the last few have been earlier than that. And yeah, I want you to know that you're all wonderful human beings, and thanks for watching. We are approaching the all-important 1,000 subscriber milestone where I become a real YouTuber and start getting ad revenue, so if you have watched this far and haven't, please consider subscribing. It's one of the best ways to support any creator here on YouTube. Costs you nothing and supports us greatly. Also consider leaving a like and dropping a comment. It would make a huge difference for the YouTube analytics algorithm. And yeah, so thank you very much, and I hope to see you guys either in a stream or a future video. Bye.